Few things. She joined us before Mama, and I think bringing Mama in was a whole process. And it's a mutual appreciation. I'm so glad you brought Mama, and I'm so glad Mama, somehow the samskaras in you brought you to the group. So with that, Raji, if you just come and share.
Thank you, everyone. Add me to the list of angry people. I took him for granted too for the 55 years of my life. So never took the time to learn from him. We lived it because we lived in a joint family, so we lived it, but never took the time. He also started traveling around the world providing for the family, so never had the time to teach us. So I became a student of him in YICG to learn all the stuff that I could have learned all my life, really. So about him, you all know he's a compassionate person, he's a great inspiration, ideal teacher. And one thing I want to point out is he never failed to inquire every kid as to what's your plan, what is there for your education, what do you plan to do in your life, and always motivated them, especially his kids in his shloka class and Tamil class, followed them through until they graduated, and then when they come back to visit, he'll ask them, where are you now, what do you plan to do, and always motivated them to do the maximum amount of education they can get in their life, in the field they were interested in. And education was a big thing for him, so that motivated me to get my PhD. There are so many times I would have quit. I said, but all I could hear was that the maximum you can get in your life of the education. So I felt PhD was the maximum I can get in my field, so that's how I got my PhD. And he, like the kids, my children and the grandchildren call him walking encyclopedia. That's what, because he had knowledge on all religions, not just Hinduism, geography, history, Puranas. And he taught himself physics, chemistry, biology, even though he had no science in his college life. And the motivation was that he can teach his grandchildren. And we never used a tutor. None of the 4 kids ever used a tutor. Dad was the tutor. And he found all these online sites, MIT tutorial, and taught him physics. And then when the kids come back from school, he'll teach them the same thing. All we had to do was get the same book the school was using so that he can follow them. And he had such positive influence on everybody, young and old, and always eager to learn something new every single day. And like Mukund said, he always spent time with the youngsters more than people of his own age because he could learn something from them, he always felt. Now coming to YICG, how did he come? He moved here in 2003, he had been here before, went back and came back for good, and he was living in our house, and we saw him sitting around from couch after couch after couch, reading newspapers, whatever books were lying around, until 3 o'clock, and then when the kids came, he would usually do their homework with them and tell them Purana stories, all that stuff. But the daytime was a torture, out of boredom, because he had a life of 14, 15 hours work is what his schedule was in India. Here we brought such a busy man and put him on a couch with nobody at home other than mom. So my husband Murthy came one day and he said, I can't see him living here too long. Out of boredom, he's going to do 1 or 2 things. One, he's going to go back to India and say, this is not for me, or he's going to go crazy from boredom. So you have to do something about it. So I racked my brain, and what did I do? I had already joined, it was 4 years of my time in YICG already. I joined in 2000. I went to Raji and I said, what can I do with my dad in YICG? Of course, you know how Raji jumps as any idea. So she, oh my God, we can use him. There are so many places we can use his knowledge. And so, because it was the middle of the year, school year, so he started teaching, chanting to a bunch of us at YICG office, like Rati said, sitting on the floor. We were learning on a Monday afternoon. That's the day I had off, so I could drive him there, and we were doing it. And starting September of 2004, he started coming here. And we had a shloka program already, but it wasn't streamlined, so he came up with a 3-level shloka class, listed up a bunch of shlokas and chantings and bhajans that can be taught for every level. And so it was a 9-year program. That's how we started it, right from little kids and 4-year-olds till they graduate. And then he started in 2005 the Tamil class, just himself as teacher with a bunch of kids. And we have 6 teachers today, and already we have over 10 kids graduated out of the Tamil program. And then, of course, the adult chanting moved here from the office to a more structured thing, and then Sanskrit, and then so on and so on. It just keeps going from there. In this 13 or 14 years he's been here, he has developed a big fan club in YICG here. And I used to tease him, saying he has so many girlfriends, especially in the adult chanting class. The class always ran overtime. The days I was dropping him, I'll wait outside. It's supposed to finish at 4:50. I'm chatting with people, 4:30, 4:45. Then I'll go in and say, time, he says, yeah. Because the ladies are not moving out of that place. And there is snack, there is tea. Yes, ladies, you can vouch for that. I was shocked to find out they had snack, they had tea, they had everything in that classroom. And that was, big fan club for him. I felt YICG was a lifeline for him, or like Rama calls it, an oxygen for him. And everything about the whole week was about getting here on Saturday and what can he teach new to everybody. And he'll make copies and everything ready. And 12:30, like my mom says, who's going to drop me at YICG? Class starts only at 1. 12:30, he'll be here. So going forward, I'm really hoping that we can take his teaching, the life he led, as a lesson and continue to develop the very programs he started and keep his legacy alive. That's what we can do going forward. Thank you so much.